And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning back in to Oscar's Corner Cafe. Greatly appreciate it. Yes, I am alive. Yes, we are back, and we will be resuming our entertaining program for you people. So, bro, where the hell have you been, Oscar? So I'm going to go ahead and fill you guys in for some of you that are barely tuning into the channel or first-time listeners, etc. Just kind of trying to get caught up with everything we got going on. So, number one, for the frequent listeners, we've been on vacation for the past week and a half. I was trying to record something, I believe, while I was out of state, but unfortunately, just the time, there was no effing way I was going to be able to do that, let alone with the amount of fun I was having with the family. I definitely wanted to just shut everything down and press a hard reset on my mind and for me peacefully and just give like a thorough enjoyment of the festivities with the family. And I'll dive into that in this episode in particular. But so we've been gone since when? I think we've been gone since the 17th. And then the 18th, I think I released a couple episodes after that. And then we left. And then all next week we were shutting down. On Monday, however, I did try. For the life of me, I effing tried to release an episode, record something that I can post and be proud of. Unfortunately, it was trash. There was no energy at all from me whatsoever. No matter how much coffee I wanted to drink, etc., it just wasn't happening. I don't know if you guys get that too, where you guys are gone for like a week or two, or maybe even 3, and then all of a sudden you get that hangover where you're not necessarily alcohol, but you just feel like shit for the first couple of days when you're finally back because it's your body just honestly just catching up. And so here we are. So I said, you know what, I'm going to scrap it. I think some of you might have seen a little bit of those snippets of that episode. That episode was honestly just scrapped altogether. I think I only was able to manage and salvage a good 7-8 minutes of it. The rest of it was me yawning. Basically me doing that. The rest of it was that. And me just kind of constantly, just scratching my nose, being fidgety, doing some dumb shit that you guys would probably be like, bro, what the hell's wrong with that guy, right? Well, I'm perfectly fine. The thing is, it's called exhaustion. All right, look it up. But I did want to give a special shout out in this particular episode, and I'm going to name this episode the Family Reunion episode. So this is going to be very heavily focused on our vacation trip, on our tournaments from the comp soccer tournament that we went to. It's our second one. And then we're going to dive into some of the festivities and the emotional significance and importance of having a good balance of family. And not every family is perfect. We all get it. Every family has their issues, imperfections, etc. However, it's how you navigate through those challenges, is how you are able to have a functional family reunion without no drama, without no fighting, without nobody getting out of pocket, no uncle being too inebriated to the point where everybody wants to fight. Everybody was pretty well composed, and they've been this way for the past decade. I want to say since we've been doing this. And I'll dive into that a little bit. But before I go into that, some of you have reached out and asked me about some of the music that I use on the episodes, and just kind of peeling back the onion a little bit. So the software that I use is called Async. Async is the software that I use for Podcastle. Podcastle AI was the previous name before they changed it, and it's the software that I use. It's very user friendly if you are a first time streamer, or if you are a first time podcast person. It's very much like CapCut, similar to CapCut. But this one has a little bit extra features that now basically are starting to be incorporated in other different softwares, which is really flipping annoying because the software, the key things you like in one, you might find it in the other, and they're better on the other software than the one you currently use. So you're always chasing the better option, something that makes it easier for all of us for editing, producing, and uploading all our shit. So but the music that I use is usually coming from that. However, some of the music that I've used has also been, and I want to give a special shout out to a cousin of ours, my wife's cousin named Lo. and he produced, and he actually has a channel on Suno, I believe, and on Spotify where you can listen to his music. So I'm going to leave his information down on the description below. So if you look at the description of the channel and of the episode, you're going to see his link and his information there. I highly recommend it. Really good shit, really good songs. Low, good job, buddy. And then the other thing, though, too, I wanted to give a special shout out to Magnapix. This is what they do, along with other stuff as well. But if you guys can't see this very well, they produce magnetic decals that you can put anywhere on your fridge. You can use it for marketing. You can use it for other different type of content. She also does a photo booth as well for quinceañeras, events, things like that. They do ship whatever you want, whatever picture you want. She will magnetize it and you can distribute it, even business cards. So if you own a business, hit them up. The information is right there. Hopefully you guys can see it. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. If not, I will also leave the information down below. So I highly recommend it. Really good quality stuff. The owner was very, very sweet enough to donate a lot of the magnetic decals that you see here for what I'm about to dive into. So first of all, before I continue, let me take a sip of my coffee. Hold up. They tell you not to drink, chew, or do other shit while you are recording. You know what? F it. We're going to do our own stuff. So let's dive right in. All righty. So our trip began going up to Beaverton in Oregon for the second tournament that my daughter had up there. And it was the first time, I think we were the only California team that was going to be represented in the tournament. The level of teams that we were going to be playing was completely unknown. It was an open tournament. So you can run into a buzzsaw of a team that was ridiculously talented, or you were going to run into a team that was still trying to get their feet under them and might not necessarily match you up on the skill set or abilities that your team has. The funny thing about this particular trip is that historically before in our experience, we've come into these tournaments and we've been at the other side of the buzzsaw and got rocked and kicked around multiple times, multiple occasions, and it scarred us for life. It scarred us parents in particular, because this shit's not cheap. You're talking about flying, hotel fees, burrito fees, snack fees. You're talking about hotel fees, stipends for the coach, events, team bonding, just a bunch of stuff it's just insane. So if you are a parent who does travel ball or anything like that, you guys can feel the pain that I am currently going through, because financially you feel the impact. And let alone you're going out of state and you're going to be supporting your child and the rest of the team, and you're not going to know what you're going to run into. And in this case, we've been in tournaments before, we've been rocked. Well, twist to that, we were the team that was the buzzsaw. We were the team that was knocking people around, and that was a freaking amazing to see. It was so good. You know, winning is great therapy. And I mean that shit. Like, it really is. Like, if you're losing and you're constantly losing, it sucks, right? It builds character because you learn a lot of shit about yourself and how you deal with failure. And I'll dive into that. And seeing the resourcefulness of these kids when they get into these games, I don't think there was a game, actually maybe the final, but up until the final, I don't think there was an actual game during this tournament where the team felt that they didn't have the upper hand. I think the team had full control of every single game apart from the final, and I'll dive into that. But we get there on the first game, and then we get there on a Friday, and the first game is like at 7 o'clock, super late. And fortunately, my compadre Pirin showed up. They drove, him and my comadre Brenda, they drove all the way from Tri-Cities, which is about 3 to 4 hours away, to come and spend time with us, which is absolutely sweet on their part. They came over and they basically supported my daughter, and they were there and they watched the game with us. And we get there, and the first team that I noticed, they are a co-ed team. So usually with co-ed teams, you really don't know what you're going to get. You're either going to get a really, really good team, or where you're going to be spanked around, or you're going to get one that is still trying to figure out its own identity. And I don't mean that as a pun. But in this case, this team was kind of like that. This team, they had a really phenomenal goalie, and he did great. I think we should have won that game probably 12-0. But he had so many ridiculously acrobatic saves that it was just insane. He had too many that I could count. But we ended up winning 4-0. And then the second game, we won 4-2. My daughter made two key mistakes. One that was completely silly, taking the wrong angle. If you guys don't know, she's a center back. And a center back, you're kind of like the quarterback of the defense. And if you make a mistake, it usually ends with a goal. But how you react to it, how do you adapt to failure is very, very important. And the fact that she is able to navigate her emotions through failure at such a young age is very promising for me. It validates everything that sports is about. It brings out character. It teaches you character and how to navigate through failure. You're not going to be winning every single time. Your performances will not always be acknowledged or validated. There's going to be times where you're just going to do your job. It's because you're supposed to do your job. You're not going to get kudos. You're not going to get accolades. But when you get recognized in different ways, you get recognized by looking at the scoreboard and knowing that you didn't allow a goal. You get recognized by the goalie and the other defenders giving you kudos and props for properly defending. So for all you parents who are parents of goalies and defenders, mad high fives. But that was the second game. Third game, we ended up running into a team, and this is something that I definitely want to discuss on, and I have a very big pet peeve about. Number one is this team that we played I think was the favorite to possibly win the tournament. And it's one of those clubs in California, in Northern California, there's a handful of clubs that you just know you're going to get their best. Usually for us up here, it's either the Mustangs, it's either Surf, it's either Rage, or Lamo, which is La Miranda. But they're phenomenal football clubs, really good comp programs, and they have some crazy-ass teams that, generally speaking, when they go to tournaments, more often than not, they're going to win it. And in this case, this particular club, because I went on their website and I looked at shit, I was like, fuck, dude, these guys are really, really top-heavy, meaning like they got a lot of talent. And I think they went in with that. And then we scored, I believe, on the third game, we scored first, and then they scored like maybe 10 minutes after on a free kick. And they did something that really pissed our team off, and it pissed us parents off as well. They showboated. So this is the shit that I don't understand and why it's even celebrated and why the coach allowed it. So in generally speaking, when you see a coach and they see the celebrations happen and they see all these things happening, it's usually time when the coach needs to step in and tell your players to stop. Tell your captains that that's not allowed. That's some bullshit. Showboating should not be allowed in any sport whatsoever unless you get into, like, I want to say either football in high school or you are maybe getting into something else in college. And sometimes that happens, generally speaking, maybe after a touchdown, after a goal. That usually ends up happening. But in this circumstances, when it's happening during mid-level of a tournament, it's just uncalled for. It's just stupid. And so our girls responded. We got pissed off. And they scored 3 unanswered. So they ended up winning 4-1. Shut them down. We ended up facing the team in the final. And I think they were humbled because they scored 1 goal. No, they scored 2. And no celebrations. They were straight business, straight to the point. And I think they learned their shit. But this is something that if you are a coach, that is something that I think needs to be instilled in our players, especially starting them at a young age. It's not okay. It's not okay to showboat. That's bullshit. You're just going to get a very bad reaction out of the other team. And then you're going to get smacked around. And in this case, they did. Not once, but twice. They lost the first game 4-1, and they lost the second one in the final, because we faced them again, 5-2. So hopefully that taught them humility, but that's how it was. But our team, my daughter's team, they won the tournament. They went undefeated, and they won the championship. So Beaverton tournament, that box was checked, and it was a complete success. So all of us parents were completely high, just really, really excited, ecstatic with everything in the tournament and the results of it. So it was phenomenal. Now, we enjoyed ourselves after the tournament with my wife's cousins, Francisco and his wonderful wife, Stephanie. And we stayed at their house for a few days and tried to take in as much of Oregon as we could. But this is where I want to pivot. Oregon, bro. If you're not ready for certain parts of Oregon, it's going to hit you like a slap in the face. Like, where the hell am I? It's like some zombie apocalypse type shit. And I say that because when we got there at Oregon around 2:00 in the morning, there was literally teenagers walking up and down the street. They were like doing their own shit. And I swear to God, it took me back to a time when I was a kid myself. And I remember that nothing good happens after midnight. I don't give a shit how you pitch it. I don't care how often you tell me that, oh, I'm gonna do some good stuff, I promise. No, you're not, bro. You're gonna be doing some stupid shit. It's just, you're gonna get into it. But these kids were just doing their nonsense, and I'm like, damn, dude, I feel like I'm in the city again, in San Francisco. I mean, there were certain parts of it that really reminded me of like the Tenderloin from back in the day. And if you guys don't know where the Tenderloin is, it's a spot in San Francisco where you see like blatant use of drugs. There's a lot of paraphernalia. There's some shenanigans going on. There is homeless on homeless crime. There is homeless people, just instead of getting a bedroom, they just get a corner or the front door of a Starbucks and just go at it, go to town. And I don't mean a fight. I mean, yeah, use your imagination, and it's like full-blown like erotica right there in front of you. And you're sipping your coffee and shit. You're coming out and you see two homeless going at it. You're like, okay, I'm going to go this way, because how the fuck do you react to that shit? You see two dudes getting down, bro. But that was the stuff that I saw. And then you drive through Oregon and you see dudes just doing the most. And I'm not bashing on the city. I swear to God, I am not bashing on the city. It's a beautiful town. I'm just telling you that the areas that I saw in Beaverton were highly sus, very questionable, and a lot of shenanigans going on. And I just didn't know how to react. It's not that I haven't seen the shit. It's not that I haven't partaken in in enjoying this stuff, meaning like watching it and seeing it. But in this case, I'm with my family, I'm with my kids. I had you explain it to your children, like when you're driving by and there's like two dudes just what do you do? Roll up a window? Your window's already rolled up and you're at a stoplight. You have my guys getting down in a tent on the corner of an intersection. And then you have another one panhandling on the corner, like 20 feet away from the shenanigans. I mean, and your kids are right there and it's a red light. What do you do? Oh, don't look away, kids. Look like this. No. But that was that. And then the trip after that, we went up north. We continued up north to Othello, a beautiful, beautiful town. And I think we fell in love with Washington again. And I think, and that's something that I'm going to dive into in a second. It sucks when you are trying your hardest to budget and navigate through your own existing expenses, and then you fall in love again with these cities where everybody is just so carefree. And I'm not sure if it's the people, because that has a big part to it, but people oftentimes make it easier for you to make decisions on whether you're going to move someplace or not. And in this case, I swear, like my wife's family should be like advocates for like Washington intros. And, like you guys remember in high school where you always had like leadership and stuff like that kind of give you a tour of the high school, kind of made you feel comfortable about where you were going, where your classes were at, where the library was and all that stuff. So that way you would know where to go to make you feel free, like a welcome team. I swear this family should be that, because everything they showed us, everything that we enjoyed with them just made us want to stay with them even more. And it was sad as hell when we realized that we needed to leave. And I'll get to that part. So we spent some time up there, and then my compadre and my comadre did something absolutely beautiful. We We celebrated my wife's birthday up there, and she has not celebrated or had a very big celebration for her birthday in I don't know how long. And we were there. We enjoyed it. She loved it. I got a really nice message from her earlier this morning, and we just spent time together. And, you know, it's something that we often take for granted, and we don't celebrate often, and we go about our own life and doing our own shit, and we completely forget that those people that we needed in our lives, that basically complete us and would be able to help us out of whatever struggles we are currently in, are already in our lives. We just choose and we make decisions not to approach them, not to be engaged with them, to avoid them at all costs. And it's something that, to me, as I get older, I find it completely challenging why people often do that. And I'm not sure if it's because, they basically just don't feel comfortable at all. Hold on, let me pause for 1 second. And thank you, I'm welcome back. And I don't know if it's sometimes people just avoid family members on purpose because they don't want them to see through their own bullshit, or if it's just us just purposely not wanting to engage or socialize for whatever fucking reason. And sometimes it's very depressing for me, because then I hear the other side of the story where I hear, oh, are you close with your family? Nah, I don't hang out with them and shit. And then you feel bad, right? Because you don't know the story. And in this case, the people that didn't come to the event or didn't want to partake in these family reunions, and I know there's always exceptions, but if you are able to, and these family reunions have been extended to you, I recommend you do it. Even if it's the first time you do it, it's not going to be perfect. But when you purposely avoid engaging with your own family, I really hope that you genuinely have a good reason. If it's financial, if it's because you don't have the flexibility, if it's because your work, if it's because you just honestly don't have that closeness with your family, that's understandable. But if your family has never done anything in particular to belittle you, insult you, make you feel like shit, or make you feel like a second-class citizen, and you are able and have the flexibility to partake and engage and get closer to them, then it's on you. Then don't sit there and come back 5 years later wondering, oh, I wish I could have been here 5 years ago. You had plenty of opportunity. You had plenty of time, but you made that decision not to be close to anybody. And when you burn bridges like that, people get so accustomed to not seeing you, then you end up being forgotten. And you end up feeling like shit, because then you're looking at memories that Facebook recycles often, and other social media platforms, they always give you those 5 years or 10 years ago, you see this, you see that, and you're like, damn, I wonder what they're doing now. Well, you would know if you went to the family reunion that happens every single year. But I get it, every circumstances is different, but it's something that for me just resonated with me a lot, because if I had made the decision not to continue to come to these reunions, I would never be as close as I am with my family as I am now. And I feel like now I'm even more blessed than before, because again, this is the side of my wife's family. It's not my direct family. My direct family is my direct family. Do I wish I would see them often? I do. However, everybody's kind of scattered and doing their own shit. We're not, and I hate to say this, but we're not as close as we should be, but we are close enough. You get what I'm saying? But in this case, my wife's family, they had my wife's grandparents, they passed on. And when they passed away, one of the main requests and wishes from the grandparents before they passed was they wanted the siblings to get closer. The siblings did. And not only did they get closer, but the kids got closer. Then the other kids got closer. So it grew into this one big family tree that now is really freaking tight. It's not perfect, because you always have your own little cliques in every single family. You always do. You always have your cousins that you gravitate to. If you want to drink, you go with cousin A. If you want your car fixed, you want with cousin B. If you want do stupid shit, you go to cousin C. If you want to see a crazy ass uncle, you go see a crazy ass uncle. If you want one that's vocal and cusses every 5-10 fucking minutes, that's probably me. But I have no shame in that. I have absolutely zero shame in expressing who I am and who I should be. At this point, when I'm 40 something years old, I don't give a shit if you like me or not. I really don't. It's who I am. It's who I'm always going to be. And I'm at a point now where I embrace it. Either you're going to embrace me and be proud of who I am, or we're just not going to be that tight. And that's okay. But don't come to me when you need some shit getting done, or when somebody needs to get cussed the fuck out because they're doing something stupid. That's this guy. Just saying. But so that was the event. And, you know, we spent time with the family, had a great time. And I went to multiple houses, actually. We stayed at my compa John's and Marisol's in Othello. Then we went over to Tri-Cities. We stayed with my other compadre Pirin, who bought this fucking gorgeous ass house. I don't know how the hell these houses are even made in Washington and are affordable. It's fucking crazy. If you guys have not looked into Tri-Cities area or Othello, you're going to be completely amazed of what a $700,000 house looks like. Versus when you go to California, it's basically a 1-bedroom apartment in a shack, or a townhouse with only like 900 square feet. And you're sharing a wall with somebody else on the other side, and they're getting into it with whoever, and all you're hearing is like, you know what I mean? Fuck, I just realized. In fighting, people, fighting, not, come on, man. What the fuck, guys? Relax, bro. Relax. Come on, don't be dirty-minded, right? So, settle down. So, we spent time there, and then we had the notorious family volleyball. Shit. I don't know if you guys have ever been to an event where you are kind of involved, kind of not. You're enjoying your drink, you're enjoying your coffee, your smokes, whatever it is. But in this particular family, and I'm not sure if all of you share the same thing, when you get into these fucking things, you start off just kind of goofing around. That's how it starts off. Starts off goofy. Starts off people just doing way above and beyond their physical capabilities. That's this fucking guy right here. But I have no issue throwing myself around on the floor. I just don't. I've always been that way, and I think I will continue to be that way. But then gradually during the game, I saw that the older heads, the older generation, would slowly start to trickle in and be like, hey, can I join? Eventually, it turned into a 6-on-6. And when I tell you there was bodies flying, I mean, some of these dudes are damn near almost 70, mid-60s, late 50s, early 50s. They were doing some acrobatic shit. I mean, you could you could literally hear the bones cracking. It was like one move, another move, and somebody. It was just fucking diabolical, dude. But it was so intense. And then the shit talking. You know you're getting serious and really seriously gonna be entertained when both parties on both sides of the game become quiet. There was no more shit talking. Nobody was even drinking water no more. Fuck the alcohol. The alcohol left that court over an hour ago, because now you had the older heads versus the younger folks. I was one of the younger folks. And I tell you, it was intense as hell. My knees are feeling it. My back is fucking destroyed. My neck is shot. My ass hurts. I mean, my butt, my toes, my calves, my Achilles, I think busted out 3 or 4 times, or damn near almost got pushed to the brink. But that's where we're at. But it was absolutely insane. And it went on for, I think, 3.5 to 4 hours until we really couldn't see shit. And then you literally turn on the floodlights and you realize that you don't have good landscape lighting. So you're hitting a ball. You're hitting balls in the dark. Oh, speaking of balls, croquet is a funny ass game, by the way. If you've ever played that, it is funny. I'll have to leave that for another episode, but that happened in Othello and it was funny. But the game was phenomenal. It was entertaining. It was very active. After 3 hours, I think people they couldn't see shit. Otherwise, we would probably be playing for hours. But then it's funny because I saw my father-in-law, who's like 71, 72, go and dive for a fucking ball, man. And I mean, he dove. I mean, swan dive type stuff, man. And he scooped it and he grabbed it. And I'm like, dude, this man, and he got right back up. Now, I don't know how he felt afterwards, but I know what my brother-in-law felt when he played. His knees were shot because I remember us towards the end of the night, we could barely freaking get up. You know, when you're getting older, when you're literally going one of these, you're like, oh, fuck. It was a lot of that. And when you're sitting back down, you're like, ah. When you get back up, ah. It's just, as the struggle was so freaking real. But it was funny as hell. But the trip was absolutely amazing. And I think one of my other favorite moments was with my buddy Martin, my wife's cousin, and my compadre John. And it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock at night, and John has an outdoor pool. So we're just floating in some cold ass fucking water. At this point, I'm not sure if this is gonna sound gross, dude. I'm not sure if the filter fucking went out or the kids had all been in there, but the water was so fucking cloudy. That water was cloudy as shit, dude. There was the water was cloudy. Oh God, the water was cloudy. Sorry guys, I'm just having a flashback of all of us looking at the water and being cloudy as shit, and my buddy John just saying "fuck it," and he was just on our own floating. But we got into some really cool conversations, and then this is the part about these trips that make it so entertaining and so worth it, because we had a lengthy conversation. We didn't end up getting out of that pool, out of that cloudy ass pool, until about 2 o'clock in the morning. And we were talking about pyramids. We were talking about conspiracy theories. And then my buddy Martin starts bringing up a really interesting question. And I'm going to pose it here for you guys, for the audience, while you guys are listening, right? And the story goes like this. How did primitive individuals and cavemen know how to procreate? How? So we've asked this question to some of the ladies later on in the night, because everybody was awake. Nobody goes to sleep early on this shit. And the kids are passed out where they pass out. It was your typical Latin party where the kids fall asleep where they fall asleep and they stay there until the morning. And we asked the ladies, we're like, hey, so how does this happen? How do they know what to do? How do they know how to procreate? How would you do it, right? And John goes, oh, maybe, sorry, I can't even get through the fucking story without me laughing. So he goes, maybe they just give each other hand signals, right? It's like, what? Hand signals? I'm like, they had no language. All they knew how to grunt. Like, ooh, ooh, ooh. That's all they knew how to do. So like, we had this whole stupid ass reenactment of how two cavemen and a cave woman talked with each other or hinted at each other that they were going to be procreating, and how that went about. Now, I can't visually describe it to you, but it was a lot of a lot of that, a lot of that stupid stuff. I know you guys are probably laughing like, bro, what the hell is he talking about? It's primitive caveman, bro. They were trying to set the mood, and that was their mode. That was their method of getting in the mood. But anyway, that was the trip. It was moments, it was laughs, it was cigars, it was volleyball, it was croquet or croquet. It was swimming in cloudy ass pools because my compa didn't change the damn filter like he should have, and my comadre was yelling at his ass from the house. It was bonfires at 1 o'clock in the morning with my wife's cousin Francisco. It was eating delicious brisket that my guy had made just specifically for us. It was the long drive home with my kids and their stories and everything that they enjoyed. It was a sleepover that we had. We actually, this is the last one before I sign off in a bit. We had a sleepover at my compa Pirin's house. He had I told you, his house is absolutely gorgeous. He's got a massive media room, and we laid in there, and it was one of our nephews, JP, who's absolutely hilarious. My dude is like built like a 19-year-old, but he's only 13, 14 years old. Super tall, skinny, muscular as hell, extremely athletic, but he's an absolute sweetheart. And he enjoys my humor, surprisingly. So anytime I say something stupid or off the wall, he's the first one to be giggling his ass off. And then my other nephew, Evan, he's just a riot. Absolutely sweet kid. Just a wonderful spirit. He just jokes around. My daughters love him. Like, it was a really good moment. And we ended up watching the back rooms. Everybody fell asleep, and it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. But it was those memories. It was sleepovers, bonfires, volleyball. It was going into the pool. It was delicious food, good company, having long, lengthy conversations, and that is what family is. And again, family doesn't necessarily have to be blood related. It's how you feel with the other individuals that are around you. So I understand in circumstances that might be different. However, if you are blessed or have been given the opportunity to partake in some of these festivities, do not pass them up, because you are going to be in your 20s right now, and maybe you're too busy. You don't have time to do this shit. You don't want to hang out with the older crowd. Well, when you turn 40, and now those uncles that now you want to hang out with are now in their 60s and are not able to do what they used to do when they were 20 years younger, you're going to miss out on every single one of those memories, every single one of those opportunities, and you're going to self-reflect and be like, fuck, I fucked up. I should have enjoyed this more. Yeah, you should have. Especially on circumstances and events that only happen once a year. That's what it's for. It's for the memories that we take, because at the end of the day, as we transition into our later stages in life, this is all that we have left, are the memories and those people that we created those memories with. That's what matters at the end of the day. That's what you're going to be able to take home. It's not going to be you getting shit-faced and plastered going to Vegas. It's not you going to the bar and having a good fucking time and being high. Those are snippets and moments that are momentary. And believe it or not, when you get too fucked up, you don't even remember anyway. You remember how you got to the party, but you don't remember how you acted out. And then you're hungover, and then you feel like shit the next day. You never retain those memories of those moments. You only remember when you were throwing up in the morning because you were hungover, and you remember you maybe being somewhat lucid during the festivities and the events, but those memories are far, long, and gone. And then I end the moment with this. There was a very beautiful moment during the memorial for my wife's grandparents. We do this every year. We go to the cemetery. We have a private mass and a private service, and we go to the cemetery where they're buried. And something extremely symbolic happened. And I saw my father-in-law grab some pruners, and he cleaned the tomb. He cleaned it around by hand. And all the older siblings, all the other siblings just watched the older brother still continue to take care of his parents, even after they're not there. It was incredibly symbolic, because as we get older, back to the memories thing, his memories are still inside him, and they live every single day. He still misses his parents. He still wishes they were there. So this goes back to you listening right now. If you are fortunate and blessed to still have your family, your mom or your dad, whether you might be close or not, because you're generally speaking just not on talking terms, squash that shit. It's not worth it. That argument that you're having now is not going to be worth it, because there will be a moment in a time where they won't be there. You won't have to worry about arguing with them anymore, because they won't be there. You won't have to worry about them calling you and bugging you or giving you advice even though you don't need it. As annoying as it might be, entertain those moments, because just with a flip of a finger, they will be gone. And then you're going to sit there feeling like shit because maybe you should have picked up that phone. Maybe you should have texted them back. Then you're going to have remorse inside of all these things you could have enjoyed with them. You could have gone to those family reunion trips. You could have taken up that TV or moment or invitation that they extended out to you to go to their house. Instead, you chose not to. Those are decisions that you are going to be living with. Are you willing and wanting to do those? Because those folks, that's all we have left, our memories. And I'll be damned if I will refuse partaking in any of these, any moments moving forward, because honestly, it's what makes us. So with that being said, thank you very much for listening and enjoying the episode. And I'm going to circle back and end with this. Like I mentioned, there is the MagnaPix data and description and shout out down below in the description, along with my buddy Ron Solo. Thank you for enjoying this episode. Play it back, like, subscribe, share, drop a comment. Give me your favorite family memory if you want to share those and how this resonated with you. Apologies for the profanity that I used in this particular episode, because honestly, I was just really passionate and I feel like this one was flowing. I feel like this one felt natural. I feel like I'm talking to a buddy of mine and you guys are just listening on the phone. So whatever you're doing, enjoy your drive, go back to sleep, whatever it is. We will be doing another episode of next week, dropping and getting back into the frequency. I will be dropping little clips of the episode, so look out for those. In closing, this episode is dedicated to my folks in Washington, Comadre Marisol, Compa John, Pirin, Luis, Martin, Brenda, JP, Evan, Leandro, David, gosh, so many kids. Leo, gosh, so many. The new generation. JP, Camila. Yeah, too many to name. The point is that we're blessed. Hopefully, so are you. Good night, and God bless.